The 2022 season was a very disappointing one for the Mercedes team, as for the first time since beginning of the turbo hybrid era, they were unable to perform well on track and were also not title contenders. Their poor performance was due to their car, the W13, being terrible on the track. But the 2023 season might be better for the team, as the new car, W14, promises to be lighter and faster. So, what are the likely changes that will come with the new car? On the 22nd of December 2022, the Mercedes team fired up the W14 for the first time, and they took to social media to post the achievement of a major milestone. The post got many F1 fans excited because it showed that they were ready for the 2023 season, and everyone can't wait to see what the new features of the car would have. 2022 was a terrible season for the team, and many don't wish the same mistakes to reoccur. The FIA had released new aerodynamic regulations ahead of the 2022 season, and every team thought it would be quite easy to make the required adjustments, but that was not the case. Several teams struggled to find their pace, and those teams spent the beginning of the season fixing their errors. Coupled with the budget cap being in place, the teams found it hard to make the adjustments quickly. Most teams were able to find their pace before it was too late, but not the Mercedes team. The Mercedes team had been confident about the W13 due to its unique zero-pod concept, and the fact that it was designed to produce maximum downforce. But it ended up being a major disappointment. It was disturbed by extreme bouncing in straights and high speeds, and that hindered the performance of the drivers, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, while also causing them major discomfort. The team tried to fix the errors, but no significant progress was made until towards the end of the season. The major update that made a difference was brought in at the American Grand Prix in Austin, the modification to the front wings. The upgrade helped stop the porpoising and made the car faster, and the drivers were able to secure a 1-2 win in Brazil as a result. But that upgrade has now been made illegal by the FIA, so what should we expect in the new car? Sky Sports F1 expert Karun Chandok said in reviewing the 2022 season that the Mercedes car would be different from others. He said major rivals like Red Bull and Ferrari would only make upgrades to their previous design, while Mercedes would have to start from scratch because they had gotten the whole concept wrong. Quote, "They got the concept wrong. They've been very open about it. For me, one of the most intriguing things when we all go to Bahrain preseason testing is what does the 2023 Mercedes look like? Because out of the cars that have run this year, they are the ones that will look quite different. The Red Bull will be an evolution, the Ferrari will be an evolution, but the Mercedes needs to be quite different to get it to work." He was right. Mercedes needs to take a whole new approach in order to correct the numerous mistakes that came with the 2022 car. The team's principal, Toto Wolff, confirmed that they were going to take a new direction for the car. He said the bodywork of the W14 might be quite similar to the W13, but the DNA and the inner workings of the car was going to be changed. Quote, "The DNA of the car is going to change for next year. That's clear. It doesn't necessarily mean that our bodywork is going to look any different, but certainly what is part of the DNA of the car, the architecture of the car, will change for next year." End quote. He continued by saying his inability to differentiate the W13 and W14 when he saw them. He said he had questioned the similarities because he didn't want the mistakes that occurred with the W13 to reoccur in the W14, saying, quote, "I go in the wind tunnel and I say that thing looks exactly like this year's, the 2022 car. But they say to me it's very different underneath. It is about the airflow, the weight distribution, and the aero map. Our car fundamentally changed mid-year. We changed the concept, but you couldn't see anything on the bodywork. I think the narrow side pod concept is like a red herring. It's full of surprises. The last time I saw it in the wind tunnel, they told me it's not the same." End quote. So, what could Wolff have meant by the change in DNA? From the hints gotten from the Mercedes team all through 2022, one can be able to deduce some of the features that will come with W14 and what Toto meant by changing in DNA. It is likely that the change in DNA or concept might mean that there would be changes to the floor of the car or the total aero package. But if that's the case, it would be obvious in the bodywork because that would mean a change to the front wings, side pods, and rear ends. Unless Toto Wolff is not sure of what he's saying, then it might not be those changes that were made. Another possible change that could have been made is the movement of the Venturi tunnels to change the pressure maps and fix the bouncing problems. But according to Wolff, the changes made are more than that. He mentioned changes in weight distribution, aero map, and airflow, and that points at one thing: the chassis. The chassis is an essential part of an F1 car. It is where the suspension is attached. The common F1 car chassis design since 2015 is a push rod suspension system in the front axle and a pull rod suspension system at the back. This means the front has the suspension attached to the top of the chassis, while the rear suspension is attached to the bottom. But in the 2022 season, Red Bull and McLaren came up with a new suspension system that helped manage the porpoising effect that came with the new aerodynamic regulations. The major change they made to the suspension system was that they used the pull rod system in the front and the push rod system in the back. This new system is quite different as it can help control the direction of the airflow coming in from the front wings towards the center and sides of the car. The adjustment of the position and shape of the suspension helps direct the air to the underfloor tunnels where it is most needed. One thing that Mercedes learned in the 2022 season was humility and proper collaboration within the team. Usually they would try to do something different even if they saw that a particular method was working for a rival team. But for the new car, they probably figured it wouldn't hurt to do something similar to what a team has done. So if the complete DNA change Wolff mentioned is an alteration in the chassis, it is most likely that the new chassis design is similar to that of McLaren and Red Bull. After all, the major issue the car faced in the 2022 season was porpoising. If the W14 is as good as everyone expects it to be, it is going to be a major problem for its major rivals like Ferrari and Red Bull. Lewis Hamilton, who was unable to win his 8th title due to Verstappen getting ahead at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, or contend for the championship title in 2022, intends to do his best to get ahead in the 2023 season. George Russell also intends to do just the same. The team also has an edge over its rivals because they were 3rd on the Constructors' Championship table and have been allocated 80% wind tunnel and CFD allowance. Red Bull, who came ahead in the 2022 Constructors' Championship table, automatically had less wind tunnel time. They got a 10% penalty due to the breach in the cost cap in the 2021 season, and that made their wind tunnel allocation reduced to 63%. Since Ferrari came in 2nd on the Constructors' Championship title, their wind tunnel allocation is 75%, which is also less than that of Mercedes. Another thing going for Mercedes' team is that their team is stronger than ever. They don't have driver squabbles like Red Bull, nor did they change their team principle like Ferrari, so they have every chance to be a serious title contender in the 2023 season. Well, we've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section down below, and we'll see you in the next video.